Welcome back to the Thrift Shop. Today, we got Topping in the house. Yes, the Topping D70 Pro Octo and the A70 Pro Amplifier. So let's talk about these. All right, so let's get in the weeds here and talk about the DAC and amplifier stack. It's provided to me by APOS. All thoughts and opinions are mine. They didn't pay me to say otherwise, so I'm just giving you some feedback. As normal, there'll be an affiliate link down there. Please, if you're interested, please pay for it, buy it. I do get some money. It costs you nothing and helps my channel grow so I can deliver more content. So with that said, let's get into some of the details here. So APOS currently has this A70 Pro Octo for sale right now. Not for sale. Well, I guess they're selling it. All right, it's not on a sale right now. The current price is $599, so it's not the most expensive DAC out there, but it certainly is a pricier kind of DAC from Topping. Let's see here. It is called Octo, and Octo is because it has 8. That's right, 8 actual DAC chips, and they're the Cirrus Logic CS4 198, and there's 8 of them. Okay. So crazy stuff going on here, and with Topping, it's going to be squeaky clean. So let's get into some more of the other details here. Let's see, it's rated at THD plus N at 0.0007%. So squeaky clean as Topping. 134 dB dynamic range. You have output both XLR and RCA. I think you would have seen that on the kind of device tour that I did. Let's see here, anything else that we need to talk about? Because there is a bunch, and I'm going to try to get into some of the actual screens down here, because there's a lot going on. And so when there's a lot going on, it makes doing a video really hard. But you can adjust a lot of stuff, so you can do 4 volt, 5 volt. There's a bunch of things and all the other stuff. Also has Bluetooth. So as inputs, you have USB, optical, coax, AES, Bluetooth, USB. So quite a bit of inputs. It's plug and play. Didn't have any problems. Yeah, so next we need to talk about the A70 Pro. So the A70 Pro here, and again, I have the screens different, so you can use whatever graphic you want to see, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But down below is the A70 Pro. It is $499, so you're talking $600 plus $500. So expensive, but is it really worth it? So let's get into some of the specs of this amplifier, because believe me, it's crazy. This thing puts out 17 watts of power. Okay, we're going to talk about all that. 17 watts. This is probably the most powerful amplifier I've ever used. The good old iFi, iPro, Pro iCan headphone amplifier here puts out 14 watts. All right, this is 17 watts. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I don't know if it's really 17 watts, but that's what the marketing information says. 147 dB of dynamic range, so it has more dynamic range than even the DAC that sits on top. The noise of this amplifier is 0.0005, so lower noise in the amplifier than there is even in the squeaky clean DAC. It's incredible. You get 2 gain settings, and you get the, I think what they call it, Tangula module. I'm probably saying that wrong, and I'm sorry. So you get multiple gain settings. Yeah, so I think, again, there's so much to talk about with this that we'll have to kind of go by it. So I'm gonna try to go to my handheld and you know, we'll talk about some of the cool things about this. So with that said, let's do it. So trying to video this is like impossible. You can see every reflection. You see me back here? Hi, you can see me in the reflection, and I'm trying every different way, every different angle, and it is virtually impossible to get the screen without getting reflection. So I'm sorry in advance. So let's get into the settings here for the DAC. And so here you can see the display. It's touchscreen. They have some kind of, what do they call it? Some Aura UI. So that's what it's called. So basically you can get in here. You have to use the wheel over here, which looks like a volume knob, to go through. So you have input select, you have output select, and we'll talk a little bit about this. On-off trigger, PCM filter, I left it on F8. As you know, it's sometimes hard to hear anything. Advanced, language, factory reset, return. So let's go through some of these really quick. Again, you know, you can switch this. You can also do it in other areas. Pretty cool. So we'll switch there. Output select. You have single-ended, you have balanced, or all. And I don't know why this is an option to keep them on. I'm not sure why. On-off trigger is the signal. So I did test this. So I left this on. It automatically turned off. Whenever I booted up my computer, wham, it was on. So worked. Again, your filters. So there, advanced. Here you get channel balance, so you can go center, output level 4, you go 5 volts. I'm currently running at 4. DAC mode. You can also run this as a pre. So the reason that this has a knob on it is you can put this in pre and basically have a variable output and run this directly to a power amplifier if you have a stereo or something. So pretty cool functionality, though it can cause some problems. And for me, it was causing some issues, but nothing really to worry about. I currently have the Bluetooth disabled. I'm not using Bluetooth. I'm connected directly via USB, so all my discussions will be via USB. And as a remote, you know, I'm literally 2 foot from this device, so I am not using a remote. If you were using this in a 2-channel stereo, then maybe that'd be better. So we will talk about this both as a DAC for headphone listening and also for 2-channel stereo when we get to that part of it. And output select, home select, brightness select. So yeah, pretty cool. And then you hit return, and then you're back. So then the other screen here, return first. So the other here is an easier way to go directly from, if you can see here, easier way to just adjust your inputs, because I had that setting turned on. So it kind of works out really, really cool. So you can see here, This is the third screen, so this will give you your PCM values and what filter. Right now I have ultra fast roll off linear filter on. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I do prefer to run the DAC with this FiiO meter here. Let's try to run something quick so you can see it, and we'll get it going. So yeah, I do prefer to have the DAC in this mode, and the amplifier in this mode. All right, so let's talk about the actual amplifier screen. Very similar, operates basically the same way as the DAC, and gives you options here. So you have your display. You can change all your display stuff. Your gain on low, and this is really cool. It gives you an option if you really want to go, because you got to make sure with 17 watts you could really blow up your headphones, IEMs, or even your eardrums. Hopefully not. Output mode. This again is what messed me up between the DAC and this. So you could turn off basically the amplifier and just run this as a pre-amplifier, which is really cool. So it's cool that they're using the architecture of this user interface to be able to do all these things, but it can cause a lot of problems, and I almost blew up something switching, because the power changes based on the output mode that you're doing. Whoops. So we timed out there. So yeah, so you'll see here, now you have your headphone amplifier plus pre or HPA, and all of these settings adjust the output power of the amplifier to your headphones. So if you're in here and you're switching, do not advise ever switching the output mode while operating, right? Turn your volume knob down, adjust what you need, and then turn it up, because there are big changes. I really hurt my ears messing with this while using it. Please advise, public service announcement, don't mess with that while connected. So this gives you the output. You know, in the pre-outputs, so you could go to whatever one you want. Again, you get advanced. It gives your safe volume, so if you turn it off and if you want to be safe with it, you could turn this on, and every time you turn it on, it'll be at minus 30 dB. And kind of with this much power, I would advise that you do leave safe power on and factory reset. Again, everything's the same. You can switch to your inputs. You can see how it switched immediately right there. And for me, and we'll get to the sound, but I've been running the and right next to it is Ship Bifrost 264, so I've been running that into the amplifier to kind of get a taste of what flavor the Topping DAC is versus the other DAC. So so single-ended is the actual Ship Bifrost. So here we can have them both playing. We'll see that. I guess I'll have to switch to, there we go. There. So that's a tour of the screen and user interface. All right, enough. Everyone's thinking, God, we don't want to know all the specs. We don't want to know how much it costs. We want to know, how does it sound? Well, if you've owned a Topping product, yeah, you know how it sounds. It's squeaky clean. It's reference level. When I did get this one, I would say with Topping DACs in the past, they were a little more two-dimensional. Flat plane, you get some width with the sound stage, with headphones, and I didn't get a lot of layering and separation. There was a little bit, but not a lot. And I think having basically 8 of these Cirrus Logic DAC chips in there has really taken, I'm assuming what they're doing is breaking up the frequency response of each one. So basically giving you 4 for each channel in the frequency response. That would be my guess. And I'm getting more kind of things coming out of nowhere. So more of a Dolby experience. You know, things are floating around a little more within the soundstage, and generally it's good. The topping stack itself, I think, amazing for the price, what you're getting. Extremely high quality. I want to say this before we get talking more sound. I do, even though I appreciate all of the functionality of the user interface, I'm kind of afraid that long term, that not having physical buttons, if this goes out, how are you going to replace it? You know, if it's 5 years down the road, is Topping to be able to provide parts to fix this, be an expensive unit? So I think when it comes to expensive things, I do prefer to have physical buttons. A screen is okay if I just have to replace a screen, but in this case, you lose functionality if you lose the screen, because it is a touch screen and that's where you're doing all your adjustments. So, you know, that's my only concern with these. So talking about sound, the culprits, the headphones that I used for this is the SJY Starry Night. And this thing is extremely hard to drive. Well, I just lost my light, so we're going to continue anyways. These things are really hard. I think it's like 87 dB efficient. I believe it's 8 ohms, 10 ohms, you know, something like that, ridiculously low. So it takes a lot to get this going. And what I'll say through this is that, number one, these normally have a lot of treble energy. I've tried to tone them down with these pads, these ZMF pads. They are perforated suedes, and try to tame down some of that treble energy. And Topping DACs tend to have a lot more treble energy, so you really have to understand the system matching, and that's why I did run the shit Bifrost into it, which, well, it has a lot of treble energy anyway. So, but it doesn't seem to be as much. And I could drive this with, and you would assume with 17 watts in the D70 Pro, but it got really thin. So it has a lot of power. I didn't see it spec'd at what, you know, how many ohms was it spec'd at, 17 watts. So I'm assuming, even though it drove it, and the FiiO Pro can over here is 14 watts. I mean, I can easily drive it with this, and I could drive it, but it was extremely thin, so you're getting a lot of distortion coming in, and things thinned up. So, and that could be, again, a combination of how many volts do you have going out of here and here. So even though it's claimed to be 17 watts, it's hard to actually know if it is, because you have so many settings and variables. Again, you had that HPA, you know, pre-output, all effect, and it all changes everything, and the voltage from your DAC coming out. So you have a lot of variables to understand if this is really running 17 watts. Do you need 17 watts for most things? No. If you're running SJY Starry Nights, do you want power? Yes. Is this the best amplifier for it? I don't know, because there's so many options in here that to get it to run. It was easy for me just to switch headphones, quite honestly. But so again, things are very thin with this specific headphone, so I don't think it likes to run low impedance headphones. So keep that in mind if you're looking at the Topping stack, the A70 D70 stack. So the other test was the FiiO FT3 350 ohm dynamic driver headphones, and I love these headphones. And I think there's misconception because now there's 2 of them, right? There's like a 32 ohm and a 350 ohm. I absolutely love these, and I love it on my tube amps. So I have the Dark Voice sitting off to my right side, not in view, and we're actually going to have a video coming up where we tube roll with some new tubes that are out in the market. Yay! It's overdone, but ooh, I'm gonna do it. Anyways, lovely. Again, these do have some treble energy depending what you're connecting them to. So connecting them to the topping stack, again, you're getting a little more treble energy than you might want. But overall, detail, layering, separation, soundstage width, everything's magical with this. Can't say enough. All right, so I need to move away from headphones, and we need to talk about IEMs. So, unless you live under a rock, this is the new, come on, get it to go here. It's not gonna focus. All right, these are the new, what do I do with the box? Oh, I had it sitting here the whole time, right here. 02s, 7 hertz, 02s. So I've been running these and to get my review out. And I actually have the 01s here. And so I'm trying to go back and forth between these. And, you know, these are, what, $25? I'll put a link down below. And seriously, I think this is the best IEM for 25 bucks I've heard. I thought the 01 was, now the 02. Just a little bit of what do you want. But man, these are incredible. As an IEM, you don't need 17 watts. Actually, I had to use an adapter to connect in, and actually still connected. So run a single-ended, just running these. Then sounds great. It's magical running 0 to IEMs on this topping stack. Actually, it's a match made in heaven. Again, I was getting more layering and separation than I typically do. Now, I have to mention, because I've been running the shit Bifrost 264 into this amplifier to test it, I do find that I do like the shit Bifrost 264 sound. It's it's got the shit sound. It's a little thicker, meatier. So it's depending on what your uses. Are you going to be using this for clinical, mixing and mastering of videos, or, whatever you're doing? You're a marketing expert. You need to know that you're putting out the exact, what you need, right? It's going to be clinical. It's going to be there. Or do you want fun, where the shit Bifrost has got a little more bottom end, a little more meat, a little more warmth. There is a little bit of a tipped up treble for the specific unit, but shit comes out with a fun sound, and then you're gonna have a more clinical sound. But I will say this Octo DAC has probably been one of the best topping DACs that I've ever heard, and I give both of these, an A rating in my book. So amazing products, and I hope Topping keeps making great products, because it's amazing what Topping has done for the whole head-fi industry, and it's great. Thank you. All right, now we're gonna go talk about stereo. All right, let's talk about the A70 Pro Octo. Currently have this set up in my 2-channel system. Sitting on just an old vintage stereo. I just like the looks of this thing. Isn't that cool? How it's got a little like golden copper braided screen where the speakers are down here. Pretty cool. Anyways, I digressed. That happens pretty easy. Main system, musical fidelity, M3SI. I love this thing. Again, it depends on what you're looking for in an amplifier. For me, it suits my needs perfect. So I have a Bifrost here. This isn't the same one we just talked about. That was the Bifrost 264. This is OG Bifrost 1 multi-bit, so kind of the first generation of shit's multi-bit. So I'm running the Weem Pro, not the Pro Plus. So I'm streaming from here, optical into here, RCA out of here into Garlic. So that's currently what we have going on. And I never did the review of the Weem, so I love it, absolutely love it. I have 2 of them. If you check out my unboxing of the Weamp, and I have a video coming out soon of that. The WAM amp is great. This is great, and yeah, I do like my high-end streamer, but the user interface what gets me. Anyways, so running into this, so we got a Class D amp here, which I gotta say it's amazing, and you'll have to wait for the review on that. So currently running that. How does the Topping D70 Pro, sorry, these Topping, the D and the A and all tongue twisters. Anyways, how does it sound? Well, you know, again, the shit Bifrost OG1 is a little more fun. It's a little more meat on the bone, I guess, where the Topping A90 or D70 Pro Octo. Sorry, my gosh. We're just gonna say Topping from now on. All right, let's make it easy on me. You know, it's a little more reference, I guess, if you want to use that kind of you know, terminology. It's thinner, which allows details to come through, and yeah, it's fine. I mean, I like it. As far as the soundstage between the two, I think that's where really where the differences lie. Outside of the fun shit sound signature, it's just basically you feel like the sound with the Topping is the soundstage is just outside the speakers, where the shit Bifrost is, you know, it's more holographic. It's outside the speakers quite a bit. The Topping puts it between the speakers, and mostly and just outside of it. But I think where you get the biggest difference between the shit Bifrost and the Topping D70 Pro Octo is the depth, where the shit gives you a lot more depth. So it's a little more holographic in that nature. You know, it's not like a true R2R, if you know what I mean. If you've had an R2R, maybe a Denafrips, where you get amazing soundstage. I think this is the first Topping that is going in that direction. Everything that I've heard before is a little bit more two-dimensional, no depth. You get width on the soundstage, where now you're starting to get depth. It's not as good as the shit Bifrost, or, you know, a Denafrips, but it's getting in that direction, which is good news. So they must be doing some reclocking and some good things to get the sound to get a little more open. And so yeah, it sounds great. Looks cool in the system, I think so. And yeah, so I think for the price, you know, this is cheaper than actually the shit Bifrost 264 it's on the market. So I think it's at a competitive price, that if you're looking for something that's highly detailed, resolving, with a lot of functionality. I mean, you can use this as a preamp and just run a power amp. So depending what your needs are, I would go that direction. So thanks from the thrift shop. All right, peace. Like, hit the buttons down below, subscribe, help out my channel grow. It doesn't cost you anything to hit, you know, subscribe, but it does help me. I've been doing this for a while now. I think I have 130 videos, and I need more people to subscribe to keep this going. So please help me. Appreciate it. Peace. Bye. So one thing I wanted to talk about is the on-off switch. I don't know if I can get it to focus down here. So depending on what kind of power cord you're using, you're not going to be able to turn it on or off, or barely. I don't know. I got it, but just be careful of what kind of plug that you're using. If you use, you know, something that's standard, it comes in the box, you're fine. But if you're using an upgraded cable, just know you're gonna have a problem turning this thing on and off.